It's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the number one business development and revenue focused late night show in the country where we're on a mission. And our mission really is to inspire. Our mission is to empower, and our mission is to provide you, that's right, you, the entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute that big vision. I always like to say, you have for the people you were called to serve. And on this particular episode, we have the one and only Nathaniel, who's in the building. And yeah, he went from the streets to the boardroom, but he got some other cool things we're going to talk about. What's up, Nathaniel? How are you, man? Did I get it right?
Yes, I am doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you for being here, man. I just want to kind of address the elephant in the room. And they're going to read your bio below and they're going to research you and all this stuff. But, there's a huge challenge out there that you found. And that is that folks today are challenged with creating wealth or spending less than they make. And the reason I'm going to ask you the question, which is, what are the challenges that people have today? Why is there still a struggle? I'm raising my hand, ladies and gentlemen, so I'm not pointing fingers. When we have a bunch of apps on our phone, which I have, got all the software, which I have, even got Instagram to remind me of things and reminders. And yet my wife and I claim we're going to track all our groceries and our spending, and yet we get off track. So here's the question for those folks that are listening. What's some of the challenges that people have with creating wealth these days? And I know it's a loaded question, but I'd like for you to kind of address it if you would.
Yeah, I think it's the system. So it's a two-part answer.
Mhm.
From my perspective, is that it's the system because the system is designed to keep you in a certain place. A lot of people don't like to acknowledge that in America we live in a classist society, and that it is important for us to have poor people and middle class people, upper class people, and then the one percenters. But in America, you are able to move from one class to another if you have someone that's going to take you under the wing, or you can uh, figure out how to do it. But the system itself is not designed for that. In fact, the system is designed to take money away from you, and so it's an external thing that's happening, and then there's an internal thing that's happening. So the internal thing is that we've been taught to think and behave a certain way, and it doesn't matter how many external tools we have, like you said, with the reminders and the software that does the track our bills. No, it that doesn't matter if you don't change the internal stuff. So you got to change the internal stuff, and then you can use the external tools in order to bring about the change that we're looking for.
So if we can, let's talk to two different audiences. Let's first talk to the audience that is just trying to get financial security. Let's say, I don't know, 3 to 6 months in the bank, right? And they're like, hey, I'm
Yes.
listening to him, Nathaniel. I got the right mindset, Shay. Like, I'm all in. And so what is maybe one or two, three things you would recommend to the person that's just trying to get the savings in, right? And they want to get out of debt. They believe they want to get out of debt, but yet they're looking for the right mindset, the right belief systems, and maybe even a tool. So what's one or two or three things you would recommend to that group that's listening right now?
Find someone like I do a financial boot camp, and in fact, we can talk about this a little later. I have one that is a paid boot camp for people who can afford it, but I also have a nonprofit boot camp for those who can't afford it. You need to get someone that's going to teach you, someone that's going to show you how the system works, how to think about it, and then the tricks of the trade. Of here are the little things that you can do in order to bring about that change. So the first thing I think I would say is people that are trying to get to that 3 to 6 month is you got to get rid of your ego. If you could have done it, you would have done it. And since you haven't done it, now it's time to get somebody in that can help you to do it. Then the second thing would be you have to be open to learning, open to doing something differently. Um, and the third thing would be then you got to do it. You got to put the action into what you're being shown what to do. What I find is a lot of people they will ask me for information, and this is just in general. They ask a lot of people for information. You give it to them, and they never implement it. Well, nothing's going to change if you don't put the action behind it in order to bring about the change that you're looking for.
I love that. Spot on. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get to who he is, I want him to talk to the other group. I know I said there was two groups, right? And Nathaniel X Ross, he can handle this. There's another group out there. They're like, hey, I think I've reached a little bit of independence here. Okay, I got a little bit of money in my retirement account. Got maybe one or two investment properties. They've got what I got, some money coming in over and beyond just their salary. I'll say it like that. But they're like, man, uh, how can I explode? I mean, what should be my mindset to get to the next level? I'm playing it safe and got a little bit in the market here and there. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm not asking to be a financial planner. That's not what I'm doing. But I am asking him to give based on his insight. He's got years of doing this. He's worked with folks in corporate America. Nathaniel, I don't know if you know this, but about 70% of our audience that watch the time are dualpreneurs. So they could be very well in corporate America. They work a full-time job, but they're also a full-time entrepreneur, right? And they're like,
Yeah.
I'm this 9-to-5 millionaire, Shay. I'm trying to crack it. So can I ask him, what should my mindset be as I look to try to build team and look to grow what I have and protect and preserve so I can continue to leave a legacy for my family? So what's the question? For the person that's independent, what is their mindset any different, number one? And what should they be looking at and preparing for as they look to get to that next level of wealth?
I would start off with slow down. Most people that are entrepreneurs and people that are out there that are chasing and literally going after, like, how do I make my big stash of money? Um, there's a whole lot of glitter out there, and a lot of folks get distracted with the glitter. What's the next big thing that's going to make me rich? And so my advice would be, first thing to do is slow down. You have to slow down in order to speed up. And then once you slow down and stop chasing all the little silver things that are dangling that's out there, you need to take a look at what systems you currently have in place, and you need to surround yourself with the right professionals that's going to help you to debug that system, so that when you are bringing money in, the money is coming into a system that works. Because you got a lot of entrepreneurs or doorpreneurs or just the preneurs that are out there. They know how to make money and they bring it in, but if you bring it into a faulty system, you're going to lose it, and you're constantly chasing. I got to get more money. I got to feed the beast. So slow down, get the systems in place, um, and then get someone who has done what you want to help you. If you want to be a millionaire, you got to hang out with millionaires. And it's not like you can just go and walk and say, hey, I know you're wealthy. Can you come? But you got to put yourself in the environment where those people are, that will give you an opportunity and a chance to be around millionaires or successful business people, where someone, now you've created the opportunity for someone to be able to say, hey, did you think about this? Come on over here and let me take you under my wing and show you something. But then you got to be receptive and open to doing the work and doing it. And that's where you got to disengage your ego, because the problem sometimes is we get caught up in, I'm an entrepreneur, I know how to do my thing, and I'm making money. And someone that's more advanced than you come along and say, no, you want to chill here, and you want to take this step, and you want to tweak this here. But the ego says, no, I'm gonna do it the way I want to do it. And it's like, well, why are you asking if you're going to do it the way that you're going to do it? And if it's not working for you, you're stuck in the same place.
Makes a lot of sense. I love it. Some folks are meeting you for the very first time, Nathaniel. They're listening. Makes sense. They haven't had time to go read no bio. They might be listening to us right now. She may be in the kitchen cooking right now. Someone may be at the gym. They tune in. They listen to the podcast. Thank you so much. Somebody might just turn us on and watching while they're doing other stuff. And they say, Shay, who is this guy? It's making sense and sense. Sense and sense, y'all. He's making sense and he's going to make some sense for you, okay? But as you're listening to him, you might want to know, who is he? What's his backstory, Shay? What led him to be the expert and sharing what he's sharing now? So if you can, Nathaniel, can we slow down, as you said, and then we'll speed back up And I know you got the book From the Streets to the Boardroom, The American Dream, but tell me, who are you? What's your backstory that led you to doing what you're doing now?
Okay, so I'm going to give an answer that most people don't give. You ask me who I am, and usually when that question is asked, people start rattling off all the different titles that they have, and I have a plethora of titles, but that's not who I am. I am a compassionate leader that functions out of love, confidence, and integrity. That's who I am as a person, and that shows up in any and everything that I do in all aspects of my life. And I know that's not a traditional answer, um, but that's who I am. In terms of the things that I do, and that backstory, I was born in the '60s in poverty in Baltimore City, from in the ghetto. And at that time, we had white and black water fountains, and we weren't allowed to go into restaurants. We had to go in. We couldn't try clothing on in the stores. It was a pretty challenging time, and I was able through different circumstances and different crossroads to meet different people who just elevated my life. And life is about choices, and you have to choose what you're going to do. And when you make those choices, there's a set of consequences that come with every set of choices that you make. And fortunately for me, and as a young teenager playing on the streets, a city councilman came through, was campaigning, and I didn't know he was a city councilman. All I saw was this black man that was dressed sharply, walking through the ghetto, and I'm like, wow, well, he must be somebody important. And I just walked up to him and said, "Who are you? Why are you here?" And he told me he was running for city council. He was a city councilman. And he was running for city council again. And I asked him, well, can I help you campaign? And he said, sure. And that was a crossroad for me, because in my willingness to help him, he helped me. He took me under his wing, and I, instead of going out and hanging out and playing basketball and hanging on the corners, I ended up interning at City Hall in high school. So I would leave school and intern at City Hall. Um, you know, from the streets, I was destined to be dead or in jail by 18 to 25. And this man, because of what he provided me and the opportunity, it shifted my life, because now there's this reality of me going to college. So by being in that environment I tell you about, you got to change your environment. By me hanging out in City Hall now, every city hall at the City Hall in Baltimore had 19 city council people, including the president, the mayor, and the governor. They all gave me letters of recommendation, which got me into college. It was almost like, what college is not going to let me in with me having those types of support? So
Mhm.
I got into college, which then now opened me up to a whole different world, right? And in that, I met people and I thrived in that environment. Um, and then when I left college, when I graduated, I went to work in college because I liked what I was doing. And I started off as assistant director of residential services and worked my way up to associate dean of students. Um, and then there were things that were politically happening, and it was just a change and growth in me. And it was like, okay, now it's time for me to leave. So I went into corporate America and ended up as an officer in a Fortune 400 global real estate firm. And there I just grew and I learned and got exposure to, so I got that international exposure from traveling around the world. And it's just an awesome experience. But as I'm going through these different crossroads and meeting different people, one group of people that I met was um, Jack Canfield, who puts out Chicken Soup for the Soul,
Yeah.
Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I actually ended up going out and doing training at the Accelerated Business School for Entrepreneurs in San Diego. And they only hold one class here in the country. Anywhere else, you got to go internationally to go through that program. And uh, when I went through it, it was like, it was mind blowing. It's like, why don't we teach this to people? And I asked the question, why don't we teach this to people, right? And why can't we teach it to people that can afford it? And I asked them what were they going to do about it, and they said nothing. They asked me what was I going to do about it. So that's what shifted me into becoming a certified life coach, and doing all the external training outside of corporate America so I could diversify as much as I could in my training, and then being able to create a nonprofit and a for profit that could bring this personal growth and development into the hands of the average person, because that's where it needs to be, with the average person. So that's kind of what got me here.
Yeah. And so for the average person that has a business, you shared some advice earlier, a lot of training that you've had. If you had to say, here are three things, or three principles of your success, let's just say. And again, I know it's a loaded question. He's going to talk about how y'all can connect with him, how you can go much deeper. But he says, look, here's three principles, okay, that I'm going to share with you. I've learned so much on my journey. You've had good mentors and you've had great training and you've done it in corporate America. I say, look, if you're out there watching, here are three principles that can help you create the wealth and success you want. And yes, it comes from the inside, but you can go apply it. And you might, as you're watching now, lean in. This is the time you might just want to lean in and say, wow, get your notepad out. I'm going to ask them, what's three things that you would recommend as folks that are watching that they could do to help them on that path, not only to financial freedom, not only to being a bigger contributor. That means they can take the money they have and they can support the causes they believe in. But at the end of the day, they can leave a legacy for future generations. And again, off the top of your head, ladies and gentlemen, there's no script, there's no questions here. It's just he and I having a conversation, and y'all are eavesdropping, obviously. You're joining in. But what would be the three principles? If you were sitting in my seat, you'd want to know, wouldn't you? I want to know. So let's ask them. So please, Nathaniel X Ross, three principles that you would give, that you could share, that could help us on this journey, man.
Um, okay, and I'm going to keep it to principles, I trust that people know what principles are.
Well, you could,
Principle,
yeah, three principles, your framework, just, three ideas, however you want to frame it. It's fine. That's
well,
cool.
principles are things that are proven. If you do it this way, the result's going to always be the same, right? So laws of the universe are principles. Gravity is a principle. It doesn't matter who does it, doesn't matter when, where, what time. If you walk off of a building, gravity is going to pull you down to the ground. So that is a principle, so that we're all on the same page in terms of understanding what a principle is. So the first principle that I would share is um, the principle of truth. There are two energies in the universe, positive and negative. And truth is positive, lies are negative. Uh, Understand that wherever you are and wherever you want to go, you got to tell the truth. You got to tell yourself the truth, and you need to tell other people the truth. Because when you tell the truth, a lot of creativity comes and you attract. The second principle kicks in, the law of attraction. You start to attract positivity. You start to attract like minded people that's telling the truth. And the same thing is also in play. If you lie, you're going to attract those type of people. You're going to attract that negativity, and it's going to be disruptive to any and everything that you do. So if you're looking at your finances and you go, what's wrong with my finances? If they're not in a good space, look to what lie you told to yourself and or to someone else. And now once you tell the truth to yourself, now you can correct that, which is going to change your financial situation. And then the third one I would say is the law of manifestation. We are creating all the time,
Yeah.
right? What we think, there's four steps to manifesting or creating. You got to think about something, you got to speak to someone about it, you got to write about it, and then you got to put the action behind it. So that microphone that you're speaking into, somebody thought about that microphone. Somebody sketched that microphone out. Somebody had a conversation with other people about that microphone, and then people got behind it and brought that microphone into existence. Everything in the world works that way. But if you're not in tune with that principle and you don't understand that, you can be creating negative stuff all the time, and you're going, why is this bad stuff happening to me? How come how come I'm not being successful in my business? And then you have to look at, well, what words are coming out of my mouth? Are they positive or are they negative? What am I creating? So when you put those together, um, those are three things that should help people.
This is probably $1 million conversation in all seriousness. For those folks that are listening, you're able to pick the brain. You're able to be right here with Nathaniel X Ross, who's right here, right now, in the present moment. And as he's speaking, we have a segment here, Nathaniel, called Today is My January 1st. Now, I know for some of you who tuned in, you wait to say that at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time every night. Today, that's right, today, you can say, is my January 1st. And that just feels so good for you because it's like a whole new year, right? And some of you, you're joining for the very first time. So let me welcome you to the family. We welcome you to the family, by the way, and let you know that today is our January 1st is our personal mantra here at the Happy Entrepreneur Show. It represents a do-over. It represents a fresh start. It means our past, no matter what that past is back there, it no longer equals the future. And so my question for Nathaniel, as he's listening on the other side, is two parts. When you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what do you hear? And number two, what was one of your setbacks? Maybe your life's been perfect. We'll find out that you had a bump in the road. There was a challenge and you had to bounce back from it.
Yeah.
Take it away.
So my January 1st is would be do it. Just do it. I'm actually at a crossroads in my life, and I'm in the process of building a home in the Dominican Republic, and I'm looking at buying a home in Thailand. And my New Year's would be just move, just go and travel the world and spend time in those two countries as well as other places visiting. So for me, it's that my January 1 is just get out and do it. You only have so many days on this planet, and a lot of people do a lot of talking. So if you're going to say January 1st, new start, do it. Whatever it is, just do it. The second part of that question, in terms of failure, I've had a lot of them. And one of the things that I would tell your listeners is that anyone that is successful and that's honest with you will tell you that they've had lots of failures. And we may change the word out from failures to lessons learned, because it's more positive. So I've learned lots of lessons is where I've fallen down and had to get back up and work and recover from it. Financially, at one point I lost 1.6, $1.7 million in that real estate, playing the real estate game. From a career standpoint, there were setbacks in terms of promotions that I wanted to be, to move into the C-suite. And there were setbacks, and you just step back from it and go, okay, what did I do or what didn't I do to contribute to this? Take ownership of it, personal responsibility, and then regroup, replan, and execute again. It you keep moving forward. You keep moving forward. But like I said, if someone tells you that they're successful and they haven't failed, run in the opposite direction.
I like that, man. I like that. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for being authentic. What do you do for fun when you're not out saving the world? When you're out helping people create more wealth? When you aren't building homes all over the place and traveling? What does Nathaniel do for fun these days?
My fun really comes in with hanging out with friends, family and friends. Sitting around. I think laughter is one of the best medicines that's on the planet. So we do a lot of joking around, goofing on each other, right? But to be able to take in meals together, even if we do trips together, we go out. say, okay, I want to play some basketball, and get a group of friends together. We go out and play basketball or go bowling or whatever somebody comes up with. Just being able to do it with people that you have meaningful relationships with. And it doesn't matter, whether you're out on the boat or whether you're golfing or whatever. Just make sure you're surrounded with positive people that you can enjoy yourself with and create the memories. When I'm old and can't move, I want to be able to sit there and just think about all the great things I did, the conversations I've had, and the people that I spent time with.
I love it, man. Thanks for being so authentic. Thanks for sharing, and thanks for all that you're doing, man. Creating wealth allows us to have so much freedom in the world. It gives us choices, and you're doing that at a very, very high level. Two questions as we come down the home stretch and close out. One, what type of clients are you looking to work with these days if your firm's taking on any clients? And number two, what's the next step? How can folks stay in the conversation with you over and beyond the time that we have now? How can they connect with you at a much deeper level?
Okay, so I can take on a couple of clients in my for-profit business. I don't have much more capacity there because of the amount of time that I spend in my nonprofit. So people that can afford it can reach out to me and go through my for-profit business. But people who cannot afford it, um, they can come through my nonprofit, abundancelegacy.org. My email is there, nathaniel.ross@www.abundancelegacy.org, and email me or give me a phone call. I still answer my own phone and I still answer my own emails. And if I think that you are genuine and sincere, I'll give you my time. If I don't, I will politely excuse you, because the most valuable thing on this planet is time. And I only have so much left of it, so I want to spend it helping people who want to be helped, not people who are resistant to help.
Let me say thank you so much, man, for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. As you said, you can always make more money, but you can't make more time. So thanks for giving us the most valuable resource you have, which is your time. So thank you so much for being here, man. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
And thank you. Thank you to the audience. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for giving us your time. Thank you for being here. Without you, there is no show. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Continue to share it. Continue to pay it forward. Continue to connect with us over on YouTube or any other platforms at I Am Che Brown. Make sure you do that. And I never get tired of saying every night, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I never get tired of reminding myself and you that you are awesome, that you're so amazing, that you're so incredible, that today is your January 1st. And because of just that one reason, because how many reasons do you need to change your life? How many ideas you need to change your life anyway? One. So because of just that one reason, I believe your best is still yet to come. Your best is yet to come. Your best is still yet to come. With that being said, my name, well, it's Che Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. And I promise you from the bottom of my heart, we'll make some good things happen. We connect again next time. God bless and keep doing God's work. Thanks a lot, Nathaniel. We out of here, man. Peace.